What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Gameball. I'm your host, Matson Montilla, and today we welcome a very special guest, someone who's had success everywhere he's been. In high school, he won back-to-back state titles at Cedar Grove. In his junior year, he had 16 and a half sacks, 75 tackles, and of course, the defensive end ended up with an interception. His senior year, he had over 10 sacks as well, had 60 tackles, and was getting recruited by nearly every school in the country, ultimately choosing the University of Louisville. And since he's been at Louisville for the past 3 seasons, he's been to three straight bowl games. He's won the last two. He has a 2-1 record against Kentucky, and he's looking to leave his mark this season, his fourth year on the team, hoping to lead Louisville to the CFP for the first time, hoping to win the ACC with Louisville for the first time in a long time. I welcome a son, a teammate, a brother, a friend, AJ Green. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Excited to be here. You know, get back into the swing of things with football and at the facility. Work towards those kind of goals that you were just mentioning.
Yeah, definitely. Is that like the mindset for the team? I know it's day by day, but ultimately, do you want to be able to bring a title like an ACC championship to
Oh yeah,
Louisville?
oh yeah, most definitely. I think everybody on the team's on the same kind of page. Getting to the ACC championship and winning. Being at Louisville for about 3 years, I've been here, put in some real sweat equity. So you know, it would mean something to finish it out with a championship and ultimately get into the playoffs, doing something that they haven't seen in a long time here.
Definitely, definitely, man. And you mentioned, you've been here for a couple of years now, and that's always been the goal. When you're with spring ball just getting started and seeing what this team is capable of with the new pieces and the people that are returned, like, do you think it's a real possibility that this team can do something special?
Yeah, I think we have a really good chance. We have a QB from Ohio State, Lincoln. He's been pretty good so far. Uh, we had some added on pieces on the D line, linebackers are the same. Some added on pieces at secondary in our secondary. I think everybody's meshing pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned some added on pieces in the front seven. In particular the defensive tackle and the nose tackle, and then obviously Thompson on the edge. This front seven, I think, is super, super talented, super good with you, Cleve, TJ, all there. But what's it like kind of adapting to having new players on the roster that just came in like January? Is it like a learning process in terms of does a D tackle, does that affect how you play as a player?
It definitely does, but I think it's my job to make sure everybody is getting caught up to speed with how things are ran here. Given that I am shoot, probably the longest, been here the longest out of D line room out of everybody that's in there.
Yeah.
So you know, it's kind of my job to make sure everything is moving the same kind of flow as if the team never changed. So I think for the most part, yeah, it'll affect how I play, but the more reps we get together, the more we'll be meshed.
Yeah, definitely. And so how has it been during spring ball in the past? I'm sure you have a couple of practices under your belt so far, I'm guessing. So what's it been like seeing everyone out there working? Is anyone kind of surprising you like in a good way in that room?
Yeah, I think we have a whole bunch of good athletes, especially around the edges. It's going to be a pretty hard year for tackles this year. It's insane kind of lineup. You got me, Clev, Tyler, all really good rushers. Then we got people that are just kind of coming out of their shell, like Micah Carter, Maurice Davis, those type of guys. So it's a legit 3-4 deep at edge
Mhm.
where everybody can roll.
Yeah, totally. And I'm glad you mentioned, it's your fourth year, you're taking on like a leadership role, vocal role. So how has that been for you?
I think it's been good. I think everybody's responding well to when I speak in my leadership. Uh, I think it was something that the coaches have been wanting to see. You know, and quite frankly, I think the players like it. They like to hear from me and help get the juice going or whatever the case may be. I think they feed well off of when I speak.
How has this offseason been for you? Because I feel like since you've came to Louisville, it's always been these new objectives. Like you came in, I think I read like a 205, and then you had to add weight, right? You just had to eat a bunch of carbs, get a 250, then you had to learn how to play with that, and then you have to learn the playbook as a freshman. And so I felt like every year there was like a new goal of like I can't just play football, right? You have to do something
Yeah.
else. And now you can. Now you can just play football. So how's this been for you?
Well, I mean, it's quite of the same thing, finding something new. I'm changing positions to the other edge. I'm fill in now. So, it's learning how to be a fill in
Mhm.
instead of a boundary in. But, I like the challenge. It kind of it pushes me to do more and be better, you know, add on to my league potential, showing that I can be versatile, go into the boundary and be an edge rusher in the boundary, or go to fill in and help with stop and run and pass rushing, a little bit of dropping in coverage. So, I kind of, my time being here, I kind of done everything that you would
Yeah.
expect for a edge rusher to do. Although it does, kind of slow me down sometimes on making sure I'm doing everything right and trying to be instinctive. I think it just it kind of helps me get better, having all these different goals and objectives. Like I've been gaining weight since I've been here and I'm still on the weight gain list. So I think I've been on weight gain the whole time I've been here.
What's that like, man? How's that work? Like,
Oh my
how do you
goodness.
feel doing it?
Oh my goodness, it sucks. But it's a part of the job. I think the biggest thing for me is all the eating, an insane amount of eating. I eat so much, I don't even think eating's like my favorite thing to do anymore.
Does
Yeah.
the food taste good, or is it just you have to just eat clean and hope it packs on weight?
I was a little bit of both. I have a mixed diet. Sometimes on clean eating. Sometimes I got to get this junk so I can get the weight up. But I think it's pretty good. The only thing that I don't like that probably affect me is like the bloated feeling. Always feeling humongous. But
Yeah.
other than that, I think it's fine.
It seems hard, man. Eating is hard.
Yeah,
Eating is hard to
yeah,
do,
yeah.
bro.
You wouldn't think it is, but
I know. It's like working out's the fun part. That's the easy part. But eating, man, that's hard to do.
yeah, yeah.
But so looking ahead to this season, though, I think there's a lot of great games coming up on the schedule. Any game in particular that you're looking forward to?
Yes, game one against Ole Miss. I think that's a really big game for us as a team. You know, to show what this year's team's going to be like and how we handle facing a really good opponent. They just came from the playoffs last year, so if that's a playoff caliber team, lining up against them and seeing how we match up against a playoff caliber team, it's really exciting to see. Because I'm ready for the challenge, just to go up against people who already been there where we're trying to go.
Mhm.
And see where we compare, what we need to get better at for the season.
Yeah, definitely. And you have, a lot of experience coming in too, which is going to help, right? You have Trey Richardson from Vanderbilt. They just had their best season ever, right?
Yeah,
And you got Lincoln
yeah,
coming from Ohio State and he's been there through it all. So I bet it's really helpful having those guys around who kind of, not that you guys didn't have that mindset. You're winning a lot of games every year, but they can
mhm,
say, here's some added information, some extra voices to help you with that.
yeah, yeah. I think it's good for us because it takes away the you always have to slow down when you have people who haven't really been into the fire yet and explain to them about how hot the fire is. So I think taking that out because we all you know how the game is. I think it makes it a little bit easier and a little bit easier on all aspects. As far as learning, what to expect out on the field and everything. So it definitely does help having experience come in and be able to add on to the experience that's already here.
Yeah, totally. And so you mentioned, you've seen Lincoln play a little bit. What's been impressing you about him at the quarterback position?
Everything. His arm strength, he can run. I think that's probably the most impressive thing. I think it's been a minute since we had a QB here that could run. So having a QB that could run, and just his physique and how he handled himself, I think that's been real impressive to me. He has, how most people rally behind a QB that got like that QB swag to him. Yeah, he really got that QB swag to him. So I think as far as everybody trying to get behind him and support him and make sure that he performs, I think it all lines up. If you
Yeah.
ask me.
Yeah, and so you harped on his legs and his athleticism, and I look at this Louisville offense, and I know you're on the defense side of the ball, but it's going to be like the beyond explosive, right? Because the wide receivers like Trey, fast as can be. You got Isaac Brown and Ebon there, Lincoln. So do you think that this team can just be like killed in the run game, be super explosive offensively?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think our run game was never a problem.
Yeah.
That was something that we were really good at since I've been here, running the ball. So I think that's the run game's going to be the run game. I do like, you know, the pass game should be much improved from what I've been seeing in practice and how they're drilling their reps and repetition of throwing and catching. So I expect for our offense to be really explosive like it was the year we had Tyler Shuck.
hmm QB
You
one,
know,
that's a yeah, QB one of the Saints right there.
yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah.
Yes, I expected it to look like that
Yeah.
again, along with having a defense that looked like it did in 2023 when
Uh-huh.
we had a stud defense. So I think this is the year where it's all okay. We don't have one side of the ball that's struggling more than the other. I think there's going to be both sides of the ball are ready to go.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Tyler Shuck, man, dog. I remember like when I was getting ready for this, I was looking back, watching, rewatching some of the games, and of course, I had to watch the one against Cam Ward in Miami,
Oh
and
yeah, man, that was crazy.
insane game. What was that game like for you, bro?
It was good. I was young, getting my feet wet, being able to get out there and play against elite talent. I think it was good for me and what I needed, because I was out there able to make plays and miss made plays that should have been made. So it was a good trial and error
Mhm.
game for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the time, it's two great quarterbacks. Now they're both quarterbacks the NFL starting.
Hmm.
What was it like watching them on the field duel it out the whole game?
Oh man, it was real competitive and exciting because I think when that game happened, it wasn't no looking at checkdowns. It was looking to see somebody's about to throw that ball down deep. So it was real exciting to look at.
Yeah, I know, I know. That was a great game for I want to say Jakari Brooks. I think had a huge game that time with Shuck out there. But yeah,
Mhm.
trying to defend someone like Cam Ward, he's very mobile. That's something I don't think a lot of people realize in the
Mhm.
pocket. Like he was finding
Yeah.
ways to step up, get around the defense. What is that like trying to contain a mobile quarterback like that?
Oh, it's extremely hard, because it's not just one thing that you have to stop them from doing. They have a lot of things. They could throw the ball, they could run it. You know, it's a lot they could do that you have to guard. So I think that's like the biggest thing. I think the best thing for a defense is when you have a QB that's one sided. Like he's just going to throw the ball, or he can throw a little bit, but he's mainly trying to run. Run first kind of QB. So I think it's better when you have a one sided QB versus one that's versatile. That's when it get a little tricky because now you got to stop everything, work to stop everything.
Talk to me like the
Now,
prep for like a game. Like you're looking at quarterback, for example. You said it's easier when they're one-sided, which makes total sense, right? You kind of know what to expect in a way. But what is that prep like of, obviously you have to plan for everything the offense does, but in particular the quarterback, what goes into that?
Yeah, I always start off looking at like scramble drill, like seeing how are they trying to escape the pocket. What are they looking at first to escape? You know, seeing if there's like a sweet spot, like he likes to roll out to get it out of the pocket, or like Cam Ward, he'll step up to get out of the pocket, or one of those QBs that stop their feet and get them going, stop their feet. Trying to dodge everybody to get out of the pocket. So I'd probably look at that first, and then I'll start looking at like kind of QB mechanics, like how can I tell when he's actually going to pass the ball, or when he's just really not even planning on throwing the ball. He's going to run. Trying to look at things like that. Um, and I look at like I try and envision what the QB's looking at. Like, what is he looking at? Like, is he just looking downfield, or is he aware of the pocket? So
Yeah.
like those are some of the things that I'd be looking at
Yeah, and so,
from the QB.
Yeah, and out of curiosity, obviously the only way to get to quarterback is to get past the guy blocking you, right? The tackle. So,
Mhm.
like, what goes to your mind on a play when, let's say, it's a pass play? You know, it's a pass play. What kind of like walk me through that process from the snap onward?
I think it kind of depends on what stage of the game we're in. If we're in the beginning stage of the game, most most people like to just rush and get a feel for the line. I know me, I'm off rip trying to win just to see how you respond to somebody that's attacking you.
Mhm.
Uh, and then I work off of that. If he responds poorly to me trying to long arm, then I'm probably gonna do things that attack or work off of the long arm. If he struggles with like speed, then I'm doing speed things. I just try and find the weakness of the tackle and abuse it.
Talking about the quarterbacks one more time, uh, what's it like having to? I mean, you've been there 4 years. You've had four different starting quarterbacks, right? You had Plummer, then Shuck, Moss, and now Lincoln. Most likely, I would think he's probably on pace
Mhm.
to be one. But what's it like? I mean, I know you're on the other side of the ball, but it's an integral part of the team, and there's been a lot of different transfers coming in, a ton of position groups since you've
Mhm.
started there. So, what's that process like? But in particular with the quarterback, adjusting to them, having somebody who's not been in the system for a second year.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I think I've seen all the QBs there is to kind of see. Jack was a little more reserved, but he'll get fired up. Uh, Tyler, he was calm with a swag that he know he's about to go out there and win a game. Miller was a little more reserved, kind of to himself. And Lincoln, he's more outgoing. He's trying to connect with the team and do things that'll boost team chemistry and morale. So it's kind of like I've seen all kinds of QBs.
Yeah, talk to me about Tyler Swag. Like, what made him, that guy, right? I mean, he's doing great things now, but what made him that guy?
Like he just had that swag. Like nothing phased him. Good or bad.
Mhm.
That it was keeping the straight and narrow and making sure that we get the job done, which is to win a game. I
Mhm.
think that was pretty cool in how he did it. He wasn't the I'm a yeah yell at you type of person. He wasn't, I'm gonna talk bad about you. It was focus on the next play, you know, focus on the things that are gonna help us win. Cause that's what mattered. And I think I kind of took part of that from him, being able to adjust and focus on the next thing that's up. Can't worry about future past, I gotta worry about the now and what's going on at this moment during the game.
Yeah,
So
totally, totally. And so switching it up a little bit, I want to talk about your previous years. I want to touch on high school for sure because your team was nuts in high school. It was unbelievable.
yeah.
But I do want to ask, this year there was a point in time where you decided to enter the portal and then you withdrew your name. So what kind of led to that? What was that process like for you? What led to you declaring and then ultimately saying I want to come back to Louisville?
I think it was mostly my teammates. You know, uh, it's kind of hard having, when you have a team that's full of transfers, having a team that is like really brotherhood or really stand behind like being a brotherhood. But I think it was throughout the years, it was enough people who, stayed on the team as well. That was like, okay, this is like the core group of the team. And with the core group of the team, we could do some good things. So stick around, let's stick together and try and make it, happen with us.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think
definitely.
that was like the biggest thing for me. Um, and it's just good ball here. Not too many places you can go and just win. So that was another thing too, because most some teams is up and down. They'll have a good year and then not see another good year for another 2 to 3 years.
Mhm.
So just knowing that I had at least that consistency to be a winner also helped. I think those were like the main two things that went into it.
Yeah, and I want to touch on you said the brotherhood part. You have that core group, but it's a lot of transfers in and out. You know, how do you get everyone acclimated to kind of buying in, right? I know they talk about Matt drills, and everyone's, they're dying after that, however long Matt drill
Mhm.
stint is. and it shows
Mhm.
like I'm here for you. You can put your hand on me, like we got this, we're in this together. But how do you form that connection with your team?
The personalities of the people that's here, like the core group that's here, is really strong. So, I think most of the time transfers come in and they see how strong the connection is amongst the people that are already here. They just fall in line with it, and over time, they'll have the same kind of connection. Won't even notice that, hey, I'm a transfer. It feels like I've been here forever. The way the chemistry is and how everybody interact. So I think it's just over time. You
Yeah.
gotta let time do his job.
And who's that core group? Anyone that you want to mention?
Shoot, the core groups, everybody that's been here since day one, really. Keywan Brown, Stanquan Clark, me.
Isaac, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Isaac, he's been here. It's mainly all those people that's been here for
Mhm.
more than like 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
I've been here for 2 to 3 years.
So rewinding the clock, like I said, I want to talk about high school because
Hmm.
not a lot of times I talk about high school with somebody, but man, your team was stacked. You played in Georgia, which I'm guessing you think is the best place for high school football.
Oh yeah, no, most definitely.
Um,
It most definitely is.
yeah, I'm sure you've had that debate a time or 10, but
Yeah, I try and tell people you get a player from Georgia, you're getting a complete player, not you
yeah.
know, no knock on any other state, but it's always something like Florida's known for having fast people, but do they really be in the weight room? You don't know. Then Texas is known for having big, strong people, but do they have the speed? And then Cali is just Cali. So I think most of the time you get a real complete player out of Georgia.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I also think, you might go on this recruiting sites, for example, and it lists where you're ranked at, but I don't think
Hmm.
it's truly telling. Like you see these players in college who maybe like we'll say 24/7 listed somebody at like a 3 star, like a low three or two or whatever.
Hmm.
And then their freshman or sophomore year, they're out there making plays, and it's like where'd they come from? Just because
Right.
the number they're not flashy or showing up at 7-on-7 camps and like burning everyone.
Hmm.
I think Georgia produces a ton of talent, man. They got a ton of dudes. But as I mentioned, your high school, insane, like loaded.
Yeah.
What was that team like? What was it like playing at Cedar Grove?
It was fun. It was fun. I think you play 10 times better when you have the confidence, and that team right there was full of confidence, like we'll touch the field with anybody and know that we have a shot because we them dogs, we them guys. And not a lot of people on that team, not only like high school wasn't the last time they played ball. Most of them, a couple of people got to go, to college and went to pretty good colleges and doing pretty good. I just think it all fell on we had good coaches,
Mhm. Yeah, so
even some of our coaches have transitioned to college.
I wrote down a list, and I'm sure there's more, but I was trying to figure out everyone that you played high school with, who made it to college and
Hmm.
what they're playing at. So I'm gonna read some names
Yeah.
out, and if
Hmm.
I forget anyone, please tell me. But because
Yeah.
including you, I got 14. But I got you. I have Christian Miller at UGA. Now he's
Hmm.
obviously in the draft. I got Joshua
Hmm.
White, who plays D line at North Alabama. Kyle Mosley, who plays D line at UAB.
Hmm.
CJ, who went to Georgia, now at Purdue. Um, I
Hmm.
got Chase Kearns, who went JUCO, Georgia Military College.
Yeah.
Rashad Dubian, running back, App State now. I think he went to Arkansas prior. Bonner,
Hmm.
Nebraska. I'm gonna mess up his name. Everett Rusa, I believe.
No,
Rusa.
you said it right.
Okay, I
Yeah,
did.
you said it
All
right.
right, sweet, sweet.
Hmm.
Memphis now. Kayan Lee, he's a DB at Tennessee. QB1, EJ Colson, now at UTEP. Trayvon is at Middle Tennessee State. And then Barry Jackson at Rice, I think was at Cincinnati. And then last but not least, I have Ricky Lee, who's at Middle Tennessee State.
Yep. Everett's at Arizona now.
Okay, Everett's at Arizona now. Okay,
Yeah.
good for him, man. That's a good
Yeah.
program to be at.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Insane, bro. That's what I'm saying. 14 D1, a lot of power forward players.
Hmm.
Did you even know you guys were this talented? Like, what was that like? You won back-to-back state titles. What was that like?
It was like felt like we were making history. Something that nobody's ever seen before in that area.
Mhm.
And shoot, I think the whole community rallied behind us because they knew it before we knew it.
Yeah.
Like we knew
Buzzsaw.
we were good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we knew we were good, but they knew how good we really were and could be. So I just contribute that to having a good community behind us at the school, along with having good coaches.
Do you still
who
stay in touch
pushed
with
us
some
and
of
got
those
us
guys?
ready.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I pretty much for the most part stay in touch with all of them. Like I still talk to Everett, still talk to Ricky, still talk to Chris, still talk to Barry. I pretty much still talk to all of them.
yeah, that's dope, man. And so, is it cool like seeing everyone's journey unfold right now, where you started off in Cedar Grove, and now it's global.
Oh yeah.
It's all across the country.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely a good feeling just to know like you weren't the only person from your area that made it out. It's definitely a good feeling, and I think the even better part about it is, we're all still going through the same thing. So when there's times that one of us need like, encouragement or like a little motivation, there's nothing to hit up the guy you were playing with in high school, have chop it up and now you're back on track and back good.
Yeah, no, I believe it, man. And so the D line, like Christian, you, Josh, Kyle, CJ, Chase. How many sacks did you
Mhm.
guys total up? Like, what was your highest sack total? I'm so because like I said, junior year, you had 16 and a half alone. So like, do you guys have 100,
Yeah.
200, 300?
Yeah, we were probably close. I don't know the exact number, but we were probably close because I know I had 16.5 that year, but they cheated me out on like four other sacks. So, I don't even know. It probably could be close to about 100, about 75.
I mean, what was like opposing teams thinking when they went against you? Were they scared, you think? The QB at least?
I definitely think they were, that D line right there, that wasn't no D line that you could just look over. I think that probably helped us a lot too. That D line, the QB have to look at us before he even think about throwing the ball.
I know. I'm laughing because like we talk about Georgia being great at high school football, but I mean, you guys, you're like 6'5", 6'6". You guys are built to be playing Division 1 like you are, and still it's high
Hmm.
school. So there's gonna be some dudes who are just out there for playing high school football, right? They're not gonna be necessarily
Yeah.
D1 athletes. So I can't imagine. It's funny. I'm just laughing because I'm thinking like you might think, oh, that was just an everyday sack. This quarterback's still probably talking about it to this day. Like, oh yeah, I got sacked by AJ, and now he's playing at Louisville,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
funny. But I read something
Uh,
interesting that you said. So obviously Cedar Grove's 3A, and you were talking
hmm.
about your recruitment process out of high school,
Hmm.
and you said the moment you knew or believed that you could be Division 1, you could reach the heights you're at now, was when you were going against a 7A school, obviously a much bigger program, and you were competing, you're
Hmm.
competitive, you're working hard. So, when was that moment exactly? Was it your sophomore year? Was it your junior year? And how did it fuel you to keep pushing?
It was around, I want to say sophomore year. Uh, I was so long ago.
Yeah, yeah, I bet, I bet.
I think what really did it is, what really did it was my freshman year, we were playing Peach County, and they had like a 5-star tackle that was going to Georgia, and then another 5-star tackle that was going to Alabama. And just going up against them and actually doing good, beating them in reps, in game reps, and let me know, like, if this is what, people are saying so called are going to be the next D1 players, and I'm doing this to them, maybe I'm a D1. I had a chance to be a D1 player too. And I think it's still the same way with being in the NFL. Like I've played against people who were going to the NFL and done really good against them. So if that's what the NFL is looking at, then maybe I can be a an elite NFL player as well.
Yeah, and it gives you that confidence, right? I mean, how
Oh
important is
yeah.
to be confident in your play?
Oh yeah. Like I was saying earlier, that's extremely important. I think that's like that makes you play 10 times better, just knowing that you deserve to be out here, or you put the work in to be out here.
Walk me through like when you're in high school, coaches are visiting the program. Obviously, they're coming to practices. Like I said, you had a dozen plus Division 1 athletes. What was it like, all you guys being recruited at the same time, all being able to speak with top coaches from top programs, from Georgia, from Louisville, from Michigan, just being able to experience that together.
Yeah, I'm not. So the people who are in my class, like the Everett, Ricky, Kayan, Barry, you know, those guys, when we came in, it wasn't a surprise to us because, middle school, they usually have like the middle school bridge where you come up from middle school and go to the high school practices and do some of the stuff they do. So, our first day out there, we seen about 20 coaches lined up on the field. And it was like unbelievable. Like, wow, is this the NFL draft the way it's looking out here? you know. So just already been like pre-exposed to it, kind of made it a little bit, you know, easier to digest. Like, okay,
Mm.
now, now I'm just the person that's going through the cycle machine of, you know, becoming a college athlete. So I mean, for the most part, it wasn't surprising.
Yeah.
You know, it was something that we came in seeing.
What was the coolest interaction you had with one of the coaches? Was there one that kind of stuck out, like, or just like starstruck even? I was talking to somebody who plays at Syracuse, and he was telling me like the day he met Kirby Smart, he was like, "This is insane. I'm meeting Kirby Smart." So like, was there like a starstruck moment for you?
I wouldn't say starstruck. It was a now that I look back at it, it was I wouldn't say funny, but it was like a like ah man moment, you know. I was called to the gym because the Mizzou's D line coach had came, and his name was Kevin Peoples, and he came to the gym, and you know I was just coach. He's like, dang, you calling me coach so much? Do you even remember my name? And like at this time, I think I was at like 15 to 20 offers. And I was like, yeah, I know your name. He's like, what is it? Oh man, I forgot the dog. I forgot the man's name, man. That was like, oh, that was like one of those moments for me. Like, oh snap,
Yeah.
yeah, you got to pay more attention.
Coach.
Yeah, I think he felt kind of bad that I didn't know his name, but
You know
you
it
know,
now.
yeah, I remember it now.
Looking at the state titles and those runs, your junior year, I think, was just the one that kind of stuck out to me as like the big one for you guys, going 12-3, winning the state championship. What was that season like for you? What was it like winning it and being the state champion again?
I think it was good. You know, I think that year when we were more so, even though we had won a state championship the year before, we were still on like a prove it journey, a prove it tour. You know, we still haven't proved anything yet to people that got questions. You know, and that year, even though we got a championship, before the championship, it was kind of like, ah, man, you know, those three losses were against, you know, higher A teams to sort of say, so you could say. And, you know, we just lost all three of those games were lost within a touchdown of 3 points, you know. So we were we were still feeling like we didn't finish the job, you know. So I think that's what propelled us into the playoffs to get to the championship, you know, feeling like we haven't accomplished what we wanted to. And, you know, I gotta give it to us. We had a pretty strong drive and determination to you know be the best, which I think was good because we carried it. Most of us, all of us, carried it over to college. You know, in the same kind of drive. So now I'm sure when college coaches see us, they're like, "Oh man, he's going to be a player."
So yeah, looking at that season, obviously there's a couple of games I want to point out, but the first one I want to point out, obviously the championship, but you beat them also in the regular season. But Carver and
Hmm.
Antonio's on that team, obviously. Do you guys talk about that game at all?
So actually, it's two Carvards, Carvard Atlanta and Carvard Columbus.
Okay.
He was
Okay.
on the he was on the Carvard Columbus team.
Well, so he never played him?
Uh-uh.
Oh, damn, bro. I was like, I saw it and I was like, you must have played him. Okay. Okay.
Nah, he was on the other Carver team, Carver Columbus down in the country.
Okay. So he got bailed out. He was gonna lose either way, but he got bailed out. He didn't need
Yeah,
to
yeah, he got saved. Now that's what we argue about. Who team would have won? I tell them all the time. They weren't ready to see us.
get Yeah, what's his argument? Why you saying Carver's gonna win?
He said we had them dogs too, because you know they had Michael Williams and
Hmm.
I don't know who else they had. That's the only one that stick out to me. But you know they had some good players too. So that's the argument. Like, yeah, we had good players too. But I'm like, I still don't know, man. We were them dogs, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
We
Yeah.
yeah, we beat anything that come in front of us. So you know that's most of our argument. I really wish we could go back and play them so that we could settle
I
the
know.
score.
Shoot, I bet
And
you guys would do it right now if you called up everyone, organized it. Heck, you'd
yeah,
probably go out there and play. That'd be a fun game. That'd be awesome if you guys could
yeah,
like, do like
oh
an
yeah,
alumni thing back. Yeah, that'd be sweet. But
oh yeah, that would be good.
winning the championship, beating the non-Antonio Waltz Carver 56-26, blowout game, at least score wise. What was that game like? I mean, I know you said you had something to prove. So was it like what was the mindset entering that game of like we gotta go out there and we gotta show them. Like this isn't a fluke.
Yeah, that was literally the talk around the team. We look pretty good, but we ain't finished yet. We need to go out here and dominate. Go out here and smash them, and we ultimately we did. Smashed them 56-26.
Yeah.
But I think, like I say, I attribute that to our drive and determination. We wanted it to be perfect, so that was a good way to end that year, 26-56. That game was crazy in itself because we had a rain delay out of nowhere. It started pouring.
So did it start late?
Now we started on time. It ended late because I think right out of halftime, if I'm not mistaken, right out of halftime, it started raining and lightning. So it had to
Mm.
take like about an hour delay. We pushed all the other championship games back.
Yeah, so playing Georgia football, like the championship, were your games sold out? Like were they packed? How was the atmosphere?
We had a good fan base. Like I was saying earlier, the community, they came and showed out, like especially home games. Like when we had home playoff games, oh man, you could see like the stadium was split in half. It'll be this whole side over here is us, and this whole side over there is the other team's people. You know, but I think the most packed game I seen probably was the Peach County game. That game was so packed they had to put the yellow taping down the line just to let everybody know this is divided.
No kidding. That's surreal.
Yeah.
Looking at recruitment though out of high school, I mean, you had a ton of offers, right? Like I said, I mean, it seemed like every school wanted you, and that must have been a great feeling in itself. But you chose to go to Louisville, and you were the first commit of the class. You picked it on like super early in recruitment.
Yeah.
But
hmm
what led to you choosing Louisville, and then ultimately deciding to stay after Coach Satterfield obviously left to go to Cincinnati?
I think what led me to come here was Coach Ivy. I've developed a pretty good, strong relationship with Coach Ivy, and just having him, call me every day, check up on me, and see how I was doing. I think that's what really drove me towards, coming to Louisville was Coach Ivy. When the staff left, what made me stay was Coach Ivy. That's what made me stay. He called me on the phone when all that was going on. He was like, "So what are you gonna do?" I was like, "I don't know, coach." I was like, "I don't know, coach. I think I might stay, man. I don't want to have to go through this whole process again to figure out where I want to be." So he's like, "Well, damn, I need to go and find a job there and see if I can get a job." So they gave him a job and he was here. So he's been here ever since.
Yeah, that's great. And he seems like a phenomenal coach. I mean, you guys must
Oh
love
yeah.
him, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, the whole team loves him.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw
Yeah.
a video one day on like Instagram of I don't know, before the game, you guys were like beating him up or something.
Oh yeah. That was before I got here, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
He got a bloody nose.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
having a coach like that, I mean, he seems like a very player, friendly coach. Like he's forward, he wants the best for
Mhm.
you. You know, how does that drive you? What's that relationship like too?
I think it drives me because anytime you have somebody who is pushing you and want what's best for you, you try not to let them down.
Mhm.
You try and become what they think you can be. So just the fact that, that's how everybody looks at Coach Ivy, like he's somebody who actually cares and wants the best for you. It makes you want to play harder and do your best.
Yeah.
So he definitely does a good job of trying to, bringing the best out of people.
You mentioned during recruitment, you said that one of the big things that you like about Louisville was you they were honest, they were upfront, they were truthful in what they said. Coach Ivy,
Mhm.
same way. Uh, how hard, you said it was also like a chaotic but fun process to go through. What was it like trying to have to decipher, everyone's going to say, we want you to, you're going to be a superstar. You're going to be great at this, that, and the other.
Mhm.
But how hard is it to like figure out like what they're saying is true? Obviously a team might say we want you, but maybe they just want you on the roster because you're talented, but they may not use you the way they promise you. So what was that? Was it hard to figure that out? I mean, you're a young kid at that time.
Yeah, it was definitely hard. I think even when I got to college, that was something that I still had to deal with. Um, but I think, you know, once you hear it, that's kind of like what you think of yourself now. So for me, it was more so of, all right, I'm hearing the same thing from everybody. So I pretty much could pick a place and prove it. You know, that was kind of my kind of goal and objective. Like I have every school at the palm of my hand. So make a choice and let's roll with it, you know. And when I chose Louisville, the goal was to prove Louisville that one of the best people to come to Louisville, and I think that's just something that just drives me through the course of my time being here. Like, is I have unfinished business
Mhm.
at Louisville. I still don't feel like they know how good I am or could be.
Mhm.
That was also a part that played in me staying too, as well. Still feeling like I have unfinished business here.
Mhm. Yeah, and not needing to start fresh, right? I mean, they know
Yeah.
they know you, right? They know who you
Hmm.
are, which I'm guessing can only help.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, most definitely.
And the other thing is during recruitment, I know Ole Miss was pretty hot about trying to get you, like they were on your tail trying to get you to commit there. Um, I know you had a great relationship with Louisville, but like, what was that process trying to say no? Like, I know you're interested, but I can't do it. Was it a close call? You know what ultimately decided you to say like, no, thank you, Ole Miss. I'm going Louisville.
Well, I mean, around that time I was in recruiting, recruiting to me was like talking to girls, like you tell them what you want to hear, what they want to hear, keep them interested, but at the end of the day, you still know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So Ole Miss staff was extremely cool. They did make it hard to make a solid choice, and I like the D-line coach Jordan there. He's a really good coach.
Mhm.
But it was the same way, which I think was kind of scary because it probably could have got me to flip. Just entertaining them, hearing what they say, and every time I hear them, the talks get better and better. I made a decision, sticking with it,
Mhm.
and not letting nothing else deter me from the decision I made.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get that. And obviously, like you said, you played them week one, so I don't know if that means
Yeah.
anything to you or not, but you're playing them week one, and so
Oh yeah, it definitely does.
yeah, it's the Adonijah Green game. That's what we're gonna call it. That's the game,
Yeah,
AJ Green game. Um,
yeah.
So you get to college, and I know it's a tough transition, high school to college for a lot of people. Just like from a football, especially for an athlete, because it's like school, football, nutrition, weight room, everything's changing, right? You got to add so much weight on. One of the big things you said, I read that you made priorities. Like you said, I'm doing this, A, B, C, D. But what helped you make that transition? And was it hard on you, like having to do so much in that time span?
I think it was extreme. It was extremely hard because once you add a lot of stuff like that on your plate, it take away from your main focus, which is getting better at football. So it was extremely hard trying to balance all of that at once. But somehow I managed to do it, and I'm in a good position off of taking care of business.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. I get that. A couple games, like I said, I want to talk about. Well, the first one though is the first game you ever appeared in, right? Week one of your freshman year. What was it like stepping on the field for the first time and playing and being in college football?
I think it was surreal. It was everything you'd imagine it to be: a good crowd, a loud crowd, and being on a stage that a national stage. I think that was like the biggest wow to me. Like, I'm on the TV and people back at home can see me. You know, I think that was like the most surreal thing to me. I I gotta give it to the game day experience. It's different being in the stands versus for a game day experience and being on the field for a game day experience. You know, just the atmosphere, just being able to soak in all of that.
Take me under the helmet. Like you're playing defense. Let's say you're at Louisville for a home game. Crowd's going
Mhm.
crazy. You're on the field. I mean, not many people experience this. So, like, for those who obviously don't play college football, like, what is it like being at a home game? Crowds roaring. You're on the field. Like, what's going through your mind? Like, do you hear like just talk to me about it?
First off, during the play and during the game, when you're not on the field, you can hear the crowd, but when you're on that field, it's like you can hear the crowd, but you're not paying them no attention for real. You just hear the yelling. So so yeah, that's like the biggest thing right there. Being able to feel the yelling, and the intensity of, yeah, I know he's about to come and try and knock my block off, so I need to make sure that don't happen and in turn knock his block off instead of getting mine's knocked off. I think it's just the competition is great. Being
Yeah.
able to compete.
So, like, what about being at an away game, right? On the other side, the fans are we'll say Clemson, for example, because
Yeah.
that's my school. So like being at an away game, Death Valley, for example, what's that like?
That's fun too, being in a crowd where they're cheering against you, and you have the opportunity to shut them up on the hand. Like, okay, you guys start off loud. Where's the loudness now? I
Yeah.
think that's the most exciting part for me, besides being able to beat a team at their place. Just being able to, because I don't know. To me, you can feel like the crowd knows what's going on, and you could feel, the crowd knows what's going on. You can feel the crowd knows. So it's just like, yeah, it's a good feeling knowing that. Yeah,
Mhm.
they can't do too much cheering right now.
Yeah, no, I know. It's nothing to cheer about. I remember I was at I think it wasn't last year, but it was the year after last, and I was at the Clemson Louisville game. And I'll always call it the Isaac Brown game. That's what I call it because I didn't really know too much about Isaac, but then he freaking railed us. Like 100 something rushing yards, two
Yeah.
tutties. The fourth quarter,
Hmm.
we thought Clemson was, going to pull it off. Everyone's like, yeah, they're going to win. Like something's happening. Every single
Yeah.
time that dude shut us up. I was so so mad, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, silence in the crowd must be
Hmm.
best feeling, I would say. That has to be the best feeling, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think that might be, just as good, or if not better, than playing at home.
How do you learn to like I guess like you said, you have to cancel out the noise and the yelling so you don't get, on someone's highlight reel for the NFL draft of you getting your butt
Mhm.
knocked off.
Yeah.
So how do you feed off the energy, but also, reset your mind and focus for the next play?
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard. I know I got in trouble a couple times for celebrating too much and too long. Yeah, it's hard, but it's something you got to have under control.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What's a better feeling? Because I know you forced a fumble against Pittsburgh. So is it better like to
Mhm.
force a fumble? I mean, you recovered one for a touchdown, so that's a little bit added juice. But what was better, forcing it or recovering a tutty?
You got to give it to recover a touchdown, because that don't happen too often. That don't
Yeah.
happen too often. So I think that's probably the better feeling. What? I'm doing an interview, dog.
Yeah, you gonna hop on?
Right?
But
Yeah, that was our linebacker from last year, TJ Quinn.
okay, yeah. So talk about TJ and those guys. They just had the pro day, right?
Yeah, he did really good. He did really
Hmm.
good.
Hey,
He might have he might have moved his stock up after that.
yeah, I mean, honestly, I was looking at boards and stuff. He's had three phenomenal years, like
Oh
past
yeah.
years, right? He's a tackling machine. So,
Oh
what are
yeah.
they getting in TJ? If somebody gets him, somebody drafts TJ. What are they getting in him?
They're getting a dog. They're getting a real dog. Somebody who loves football, wants to learn, who wants to put nothing but good tape out there.
Mhm.
You know, I actually learned a lot from my time being here on how to, be a professional football player, and how to go about business the right way.
Yeah, and so you talk about some vets, him being one of them. What was some of the insight he gave you, tell you about how to play football the right way or how to handle, I don't know, being a player, everything that goes into it.
With TJ, I think the biggest thing I learned with him was preparation matter. You know, prepare to get ready, prepare to be ready, so you don't have to get ready. I think that was the biggest thing with him. And then, you know, another teammate, Rasheed Miller, offensive tackle. From him, I learned how to take care of my body. Ashton Gelati, I learned how to take care of my body. You know, what's it, the importance of taking care of your body. So I got pieces of things from a lot of the vets that were here before me.
Yeah, and Ashton's a dog, dude. I mean, he's so good at football. That guy's crazy, crazy.
Oh
But
yeah,
what was it like being around? I know you
oh yeah,
said having him as a veteran leader when you first came in was huge for you. He taught you, how to use your size to your advantage, your arms to your advantage. But also, he's a he's a grade A player, right? So having him in the room with
hmm
you, I mean, what was that experience like having him as a leader?
Oh, it was great. For the longest, it was you know, running everything by Ashton. Hey, Ashton, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? How do you do this, or how do you do that? So I think it was really a important part of my development. To have him around.
What was it like watching him play?
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I watching him play. I was like, damn, I wish I could do that. Like, oh my goodness, I hope I could do that when I get out there.
Yeah, yeah, and I know.
He's an example of what it should look like.
Yeah. Was there a moment in the game where like maybe a sack you had or a play you made and you're like, Yeah, that's not normal. Well, like, how did he do that?
Oh yeah, most all the time, man. He has crazy bend. Like he has a crazy bend. I see some stuff where you think he about to slip and fall or something, but he's still up
Yeah.
going. Like that's unbelievable.
Mhm. Mhm. You don't got bend like that? You can't get down?
Well, no, I got excellent bend too, but actually seeing it being used
Mhm.
was, oh my goodness, that was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Was there ever like a particular play that you saw him make? I know you said the bend was great, but particular play where it's like, how did he get to the quarterback? How did he stop the run there? He blew up a play, anything like that?
Yeah, it was always how he stopped the run. He just run through people's face. He just run through people's face, and I'm like, yo, how does he do that every single time? It's like you put 30 plays together and they all look the same. Like, how
Mhm.
does he do that? And I think that was the biggest thing for me, figuring out, you know, how to get the consistency.
Mhm. Is he someone you still like reach out to time to time? I know he's obviously in the Chiefs playing big time football and all, but
Oh yeah, yeah. I talk to him most all the time. I hit him up. He'll respond when he has time. Shoot, sometimes he comes back to Louisville. We'll hang out.
Mhm.
Ashton's like a good friend to me.
Yeah, yeah. Congrats to Ash, and I saw he's getting married, so or maybe he already did, but
Yeah,
congrats.
yeah. He's engaged. Yeah.
Yeah, you going to the wedding?
Shoot, if I could afford to. If I could afford to, that's that league money kind of different.
Yeah, yeah, I bet. I know. It's funny. Everyone always talks about come back to college with the NIL, and I'm like, nah, like, come on. The NFL is still paying back. Like, we know it.
Yeah.
One game I really want to talk about, I have to talk about it, because you're away, you're playing number two, undefeated Miami at Hard Rock.
Hmm.
Louisville wins 24-21, but that game, you had something to prove, in my opinion, right? Because you just lost to Miami the year before at home,
Hmm.
shootout, unfortunate loss for the Cardinals.
Hmm.
What were you guys thinking entering this game? Like, what was the mindset? Was it, let's get revenge? Is it winning by one? What's happening? What's the lead up to that game?
I think everybody in the locker room knew that that was a game that we're going to win. No matter what goes on, that's a game we're going to win. And I think it was just a build up to that game. Each game seeing them win, 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 win. It was like, okay, somebody has to be the one to burst their bubble. They've been getting off lately, so
Mhm.
that was like we're going to win that game.
Yeah. And then you step on the field. Was there a particular moment, maybe or a quarter, where you guys believed it? Not that you guys didn't believe in the first place, but it was like, yeah.
Yeah, we knew for sure that we were going to win when the fake field goal worked. Yeah, when that fake field goal worked, it was like, oh yeah, it's over with.
Dude,
It's over with.
that was ridiculous. They
Yeah,
were cheering. They thought they had to stop a touchdown. But
yeah, yeah. That's when we knew it was over with. That and when we had five QBs on the field.
five, five QBs. One of but the field goal, was that something you guys worked on all like leading up to the week? The fake field goal?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things. It's like it's in your arsenal. You,
Hmm.
you make sure you're ready for it.
Do you have any goals this season, personal?
Yeah, the personal goals I have, I want to be able to reach double digit sacks.
Mhm.
I want to, have a real productive year. One of these, I want this year to be the year where people look at me and say, hey, if it's league, is league now,
Yeah.
I want my tape to show that it's league now. It's time.
Definitely, definitely. Well, Adonijah, I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on and have a great year, bro.